Hello, good evening, guys. Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello, yeah, we can hear you. Oh, I can hear you.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah,
I heard that. I heard that. Did you hear me? Can you hear me? Right?
yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to class, guys. I see Rena and iPhone. Who is iPhone?
I guess that should be me. I'm just gonna rename.
Okay. That must be Olawale, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll just start like this. We're expecting three of us. Two people make payment. This third person was supposed to join. Maybe they are still at work or something. But we'll start anyway. All right, so welcome to class. And then my name is Akin, like you already know. And then we're just going straight to class right away, straight to practicals. And then this course is, let me just make sure we're recording. Yeah. All right, so this course is a cyber security analyst, IT security analyst, that's right. And then for this course, I have a manual for you. Let me see if I can load the manual. I'll share screen. You can see my screen now. So I'm going to load, let me go to my browser and load Office 365. Okay, so cybersecurity module. All right, so this is our manual for the class. I will give you access to the Google Drive where this is saved, and then you have access. And then in the same drive, you have access to additional resources, specifically the resume sample.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's start. Okay, so IT security analyst, essentially, will be covering the certification called Security Plus. So as we go through this course, and we do practicals, we do a lot of theory to help you understand the concept, the fundamental principle of IT generally, and then of security specifically. Would always have in mind that we are preparing for the certification Security Plus. You don't have to write the certification, especially if you are going on to the second month. It becomes small. It's only an entry-level certification. It becomes small compared to the bigger one of month 2. In any case, even if you are not writing it, we are still going ahead to follow the curriculum. And in this 1 month, we will learn all of that. Don't worry about it. All right, so where do we start from now? Okay, let's just start from the beginning. All right, so I'll be doing a lot of drawing, and then I will deliberately be slow just to help you get the fundamentals right. Once the fundamentals are right, you really understand what we're talking about. By the time we get faster, then we will not have anything to worry about. All right, so you can see my pen.
Yes.
Okay, now, when we talk about IT, doing IT from the perspective of security, IT, Olawale, is this your first
Yeah, I'm
IT
with you.
course?
No.
Okay, I know Renard has some fundamental knowledge
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, I did IT audit.
Audit, okay.
Oh.
All right. All right, so no problem. Let me just, it will just be faster, but let me assume you still don't know. So basically, we are looking at this person who is connecting through some device, maybe some desktop device or some mobile device. And then it's not using that device to connect through the public internet, the public network. to connect to what? To some application, to some app. This app could be Uber, could be DoorDash, could be any of the popular apps, could be some dating app. I would normally say, let's say Uber. This Uber belongs to some organization, or maybe Zoom. So the name of this organization's network that Uber belongs to start from here. So from here on, we're talking about Uber now, which is the corporate organization, the organization that you'll be working for. So this organization will have a server here, and then we'll have another server here, and then we'll have a database of all of the Uber customers, their credit card information, their addresses, and so on and so forth. So we call this database, or simply we call it data. And then we'll call this app, where we have the web part of the app and the application part of the app. This application part of the app is called the back end because it's at the back of the app. And when we need to fetch or retrieve info from the database, it is this guy, this server, that does that communication. Whereas this other server is facing the front. This is the front, the internet. This is the internet, from where all of our customers, all of Uber customers connect to the application from all over the world. So this is the front-facing server, F for front, the web server. So this one will take requests from the user, and then it will forward your request to the application. The application will say, oh, that one, I don't have it. Let me get it for you. Get it from the database, and then the database will reply here, and then it will come here, and this guy will now, through HTTP or HTTPS, make it available to the user that requested that info. For example, like this. And then this guy is now able to browse that same info that it requested on their laptop. We call this laptop, this device, we call it endpoint. All right, so all together, we are looking at the user, the endpoint, the network, the application, and the data. These are the different domains that we need to secure for this network environment. So we're talking about security at the user level. Not just anyone is able to connect to this application. Only authorized users should be able to do it. It is not from just any endpoint, any device at all that we should be able to connect. Only selected and authorized devices should be able to do that. It is not just from any network in the world. We can decide, you know what, we don't want anyone to be able to come into our network from China. So we should be able to implement security at the level of network, or at network layer. We should be able to determine security and implement security even at the application layer. We should be able to say, yes, this is our application. We should have full control over who and what is able to access our application. And of course, the most important of all, our data, we should have complete and absolute control about who is able to access or not able to access our data. So these different areas of security, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we call them the 5 domains of security. We want to add cyber security. As a cybersecurity expert, we are going to cover all of these different domains, and we are going to use some sample tools to understand how these how security works at all of these different domains. All right, these 5 domains of cybersecurity. But usually it is not restricted to 5 domains. Okay, beyond these 5 domains, at some point, you want to be able to monitor what happens at the user level, because we will not be talking about just one user on a network of 1 million customers. We are talking about many users. So you want to monitor all of the users, all of the devices from which they are logging in, all of the different countries or different IPs from which they are logging in. And when they ultimately log into your application, through what port are they logging in? Just to make sure that application is secure, everything is secure and working according to exactly what you have in mind for your customers. And ultimately, you want to ensure that this is special. You want to ensure that your data is very highly protected so that nobody has unauthorized access to that. To be able to do that, what you want to do is connect all of this to a central monitoring device where you can monitor all of these network infrastructure. All of this. Your entire organization's network, you want to be able to monitor it especially. But in cybersecurity, we don't call that word monitor. We call it detect. Right? So this area, this part of cybersecurity would allow you monitor what is going on here, see who is coming in illegally from where, and then all of the logs about what user is doing, where are they coming from, where are they logging, they are all aggregated, they are all combined so that you can see them in a central place. This part of IT where you see everything together is called SIEM, Security Information and Event Management. And it's principally to detect, to monitor, to detect. Detect what? Detect any anomaly, any breach of security, any unusual incident generally, especially the unusual one, that are taking place or that might take place around the user, around the endpoint, around the network, around your application, and also around your data. You will see them here. And then when you see them, maybe you're a network security person that is working in SIEM, and then you're monitoring to see, look at one illegal person. There's an alert. Something is going on here. Who is that? What do? You should be able to do something to respond to that incident. All right. So there's another part of this whole architecture that is responsible for responding. That part is called SOA. Security Orchestration and Automated Response. All right. So that when you detect, then maybe by a click of button, you're able to, there's a thief. Then you do something, and then that will trigger something to happen. Maybe it will block that thief or stop something. In other words, you are not just saying, hey, I just caught, this is like the CCTV camera, if you are relating that to the real world. Oh, I have seen a thief. Somebody's coming in. He's in floor 2. He's going to floor 3. Block the door to floor 3. This is where you block the door. All right. You click something, and that something will now come here and block the door to floor 3 so that this thief is not able to go beyond here. All right. So if we add these 2 domains to these 5 that we already have, it means that we have domain 6 and domain 7. Together, these are the 7 domains of cybersecurity. So in our security analyst class, we'll be looking at this architecture throughout. Everything we do, we are learning from this architecture. From user coming through an endpoint through a public network to access our application. Our application is hosted in 2 servers. One is the front-end server, and the other one is the back-end server. It is the back-end server that is connected to our data so that it put or fetches data that the end user need. And then, of course, we have the place from where we monitor the entire network to see what is going on. And when it is necessary to take action, we have this other domain from which we can take action, and that action will be implemented on our network. All right. So with that in mind, if we refer back to the notes now, that is the diagram we have here. So we have so what we call user here, all of the security practices that we are going to learn around how do we secure users, we call it IAM, Identity and Access Management at the user level. All right, so whether I say IAM or I say user is the same thing. All right, at some point you know everything at an overview level, and then you specialize here later on, you become endpoint or server security person. You specialize here and you know a bit more than the overview at this level. Then in all of them you have security. And you can now specialize in network security, IAM security, application security, data security. This is called SOC analyst, and so on and so forth. These are different specializations, different specifics within security. All right, but for now, we're not talking about specifics. We're just talking about learning everything within the 7 domains. All right. Another, so far so good. You good with that? Did you understand that? Any question?
Yeah, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, please go.
So let's say I'm in an interview and they ask me that what are the domains, that I should list the domains in security.
Yeah.
Do I go ahead and give all 7 of them or just the first 5?
All 7 of them.
Okay.
All 7 of them, yeah. All right, yeah. All right, that's good. So if there are a number of questions, I'll take this one.
All right, we can go through.
You have a question, Ola?
No, I think he what's it called? Ask something related to the question I wanted to ask.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right. Another way to look at what we just had now, what we just understood now, that I have in the note here. Another way to look at that is to say, now, at the core, maybe I should explain that first. So, at the core of the company property, because when a company sets up a network, they set up server, they go to cloud, they set up infrastructure, they hire you as a security person. What is this core thing that they really want to protect? What is the core property that the company owns, that they are building the network and the infrastructure to host? That thing is the data. Data is at the core of everything. Data, right? Very closely related to the data, we have our application. The application is what Tesla would hire 3,000 Indian boys to say, build an application that will drive this car, write the codes that will run the application that will drive Tesla cars. All right? Like we saw in the earlier that, yes.
So basically you're saying the first most thing is to protect the data.
Yes, it's always about the data. So that's why sometimes when I talk about, or when experts generally talk about protection, even though we're talking about user here, we're talking about networks, we're talking about endpoints, we're talking about all those 7 domains, they will primarily be talking about data, because it is the core. It's like you have your home, right? You have your house. Your house is beautiful, it's gated, you have to drive in, and then you open your front door, you go inside. If there is fire, something, yeah, I mean, just literally speaking, if there's fire in the house, that core thing, that most valuable thing in the house that you want to take. You don't care. Yeah, you do care, but you really cannot carry the house. But there's one really most important thing that you want to take in the house, and then you can leave the house to burn. You can always build another house. That core thing, I don't know what it will be in your case, but in the case, if you relate that to IT, it's always data. Always data. In which case, your house is your network. All of the rooms will be your server. The place where maybe your certificate is your database, and then you go there, you pick that most valuable thing, that is your data. All right. So, but data does not work alone. So once you have your data, closely related to that, you have your application. Because like we said, it is the application that communicates with the data. In fact, in other aspects of IT like DevOps, we count them together. Both the data and the application, we count them as one. We don't even separate them. But don't worry, let's separate it for this case. And then once you have your data and your application, what is the next IT infrastructure, IT item that you need? You need a server to host your data and to host your application. And where would your data reside? According to that diagram we had earlier on, it will reside on your network. All right. And your network will usually have a fence around it. The network will usually have a fence around it, like your house.
The fence you're talking about are the firewall, the security aspect.
Correct. Correct. I was just going to say that. So luckily you already know it. So that fence that I'm talking about here would be the firewall. All right. So there'll be fire everywhere. That's the fence. And then it will leave only one door, your front gate, to come into your network. So this is your firewall. And this door, that is, yeah, there could be other doors, and but they have all been locked, so that there's only one gate through which anybody coming into this network can come in. Only one gate. In IT, this gate is called gateway. And this door that is left open so that we can come in through only that door in IT is called ports. All right. There are several kinds of ports. P-O-R-T.
You mean ports? Okay. Network ports. Okay.
Yeah. Port. So we leave this port open, and then we can now sit here. A program will sit here and monitor, yeah, who's coming in, who are you, where are you going to, what's your ID card, okay? Oh, okay, you are allowed to go in. As you are going in, now go straight to the server, don't go to the data. So there'll be some check, some security guy here, but in form of program that is checking what is going on and what is coming out. And so usually—
You said something just now.
Yeah.
You said go to the server, not the data.
Yes, because we are saying, based on the ID card and who you are allowed to access only the server. You are not allowed the data. So this is where I make sure it's called authorizing. I think I'm rushing. Don't worry, we'll take it on back.
No, you're not rushing. We're good. I'm good. You know.
Sorry?
I said we're good. You're not rushing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, but yes. So that concept of, yeah, you're allowed into the network, but it doesn't mean that you should just go anywhere. You must only go to these places. It's called authorization.
Right.
Authorization. So there is identification, there is authentication, there is authorization. We'll talk more about it. Don't worry.
And then I have a question though. So all these layers you're talking about, are we going to have them in practical to see how those things are being configured? And
yes.
Okay.
Yes, although we are not, as much as possible as security people, will learn how to, especially in month 2, we'll learn how to support networking people to set up networks. So we'll learn how to set up networking cloud. How to support developers to set up servers, not just to set up network, to secure the network. Just like we said earlier on here, that yes, we allow you into the network, but based on the ID card you carry, you are not allowed to ever go near there. Just go here and come back. We'll learn to set up application to support developers. We even learn to set up databases and secure the databases. Because the whole concept, idea of security is that we have all of this infrastructure and you are the person in charge who everybody will be trying to come in. Some will be in-house employees, some will be application developers, some will be managers, some will be thieves, threats, we call them threats, cybersecurity threats that do not have any business, and there'll be very many in red trying to come in. So your own work is to stay somewhere and ensure that only the persons that should come in are allowed to come in. And then if mistakenly the people that are allowed to come in are not allowed to come in, actually mistakenly come in, there should be another gate here because you set up networking security. I say, okay, how did you manage to go through that? No, now you cannot go here. Then they are stopped there. Even if they do go past mistakenly, or maybe they are really expert, at the server level, there's another security. At the application level, there's another security. And then finally, at the core, anybody that is able to get to your data and steal your data and compromise your data, pass security 1, security 2, security 3, security 4, and you should be terminated. Your appointment as the CTO. The security team, from the smallest to the biggest, they should be. How can you allow that? Look at all of the different security levels. But it will not even happen because it's not just left to humans to be trusted to do it. AI and automation is also assisting to ensure that even if humans make mistakes, the automation.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how come the security of some some network have been breached if all these layers have been in place? Like you said, that means the person passed through the layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and then how come it gets the data?
It's
so how
surprising.
come some
It's
organizations
surprising.
have been?
So that's why you hear they say, how come we are going to investigate this? So when you hear investigation, it means ordinarily it shouldn't be easy. But how come? How? What happened? So they'll go and investigate and then tell us, oh, it was this, it was this. Or usually it will just be simply that some high tech beyond, they call it a zero-day vulnerability or zero-day exploit, beyond what all of these tools have been programmed to do. Some high-level alien technology was able to beat them all. But it's not common. It should be investigated. And then once it's investigated and it's known, then it's no longer 0 day, it's now known, and all of these devices are now upgraded to now take care of that known vulnerability. All right, so let's go step by step.
Now, in this frame, like you just mentioned, how do the cybersecurity analyst comes in?
We are just starting. We are just starting, don't worry. So basically, the cybersecurity analyst is involved here. Can you see here? He's involved. No, cybersecurity, the cloud
Analyst.
security guy. No, the analyst is just analyzing, just trying to understand. At the analyst level, you actually try to understand all of this concept. But when you become a security person, like the cloud security person, then, like I said, you do not only understand, you are actually now involved in the creation of the server and the securing of the server. You are involved in the creation of the application environment and the securing of the application environment. You are involved in the creation of the database and the securing of the database. So you work hand in hand with the other technical people as a team to say, security person, well, we want to set up a database, please set it up and secure it and then give us access to it so that we can migrate our data to it. That is where you are involved as a security person. So as a security person, maybe you are part of a 15-man team. So the DevOps engineer is there, the developers are there, these are the core technical people, the programmers, the coders, and then you now have the security person. So the database person is there, the networking person is there. So you all work together on this. So when it comes to matters that are related to networking, the networking person is the subject matter expert. He will take the lead. I say, no, don't use that IP address. Let's use this so that we can, sorry, I didn't remember that we needed to communicate with the headquarters office. Oh, that's good. And then when it's your turn, you say, okay, now that you have everything spelled out, we know exactly what we need. I'm going to give me 2 days and I'm going to set up all of the infrastructure according to the requirement that we have discussed and agreed with on here. And then I'll give the networking guy access to the network so that I can further and so on and so forth. So you are all working together. All right, well, that's kind of advanced now, but let's come back to the simple thing. So that is why we have this diagram here, telling you that at the core we have data, and then we have server, network, and so on and so forth. What about the other domains that we did mention? So all of the things that are going on, whether at this level or at that layer, how do you monitor them all? Maybe we just put a monitor there, connect all of this, and then connect them to a monitor. The Department of Security that is responsible for monitoring is called SIM. And then once we monitor and we detect breach, we detect anomaly, what do? We contact SOA. All right, the response team. Sometimes it's as simple as clicking a button. Sometimes it's as complex as getting the response, somebody in the response team to come do something, whether remotely or physically, to make something happen here. All right. So, and in this case, the user will be coming from outside of the network. So the user will be here connecting to the network by passing through the firewall first, through this port, and then he's able to access the network. From the network, he's able to access the server. From the server, he's able to access the application. And if you have the right permission from the application, he's able to access the data. All right. So this concept, okay. All right, so that's what we have here. All right. So the user using EDR to access that, and then we'll have the detect, and then we'll have the response. All right. So this is a 2-month cybersecurity course, initially IT specialist, and then, all right. So when we say information security, distinct from cybersecurity, we are talking all things physical, mental, software, in your brain, physical, everything related to information of your organization. So this would include the drawers, the wardrobes, the walls, everything that is related to information in your organization is handled under information security. Okay, so that is and then under information security, we have IT security. This will not include paperwork, files, and other non-IT gadgets. This will strictly be computer hardware and computer software. All right. So if you're an IT security person, it means that you are securing computer hardware and computer software, maybe, and your data, if you want to separate data from software. What about cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is a subset of IT security, where we are talking about the part of the IT security that is exposed to the internet. And then for cloud security, we are talking about the infrastructure that is created in cloud. Again, I'm not sure if you understood that. So we'll remove this now because I guess you understand that.
Yeah, we understand. Yeah, understood.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, understood. Yeah.
Okay, so so the whole idea of security is that we should have what we call CIA triad: the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of our data, again, we could see our entire network infrastructure, all right, must be controlled and kept high. So every time we talk about cybersecurity or security in general, it means that the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability of our data is guaranteed. And that is essentially your work. In all of this big grammar and everything we are trying to explain, we are saying that at every point, we must CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability. Irrespective of what you have around that core data, your data must be available at all times. As a security person, if a legal user is trying to access your data and it says data unreachable, data cannot be accessed, that is poor. You could be sacked. You want to ensure that availability is 100%. Okay, maybe 100% is not practical, but at least 99.9999%. So that in a whole year, it goes down only a few minutes. At no point should they say, I want to access data, but it's not available. Who are you? Oh, you're a legal user. You're a customer. You are even the president of... Why? No. It's not acceptable. Integrity. At no point should this data say, okay, it was accessed, but instead of A, he got B as the reply. Meanwhile, the actual reply, in fact, there was an error, that's what I'm saying. Error, the actual reply should have been A, but we got B instead. That is not, you can't trust that. It's untrustworthy. How can you have data of this, let's say the personal identifiable information, the health situation, okay, that's too confidential. Let's say your social security number of a US citizen. And then I'm asking the US, whichever department is responsible for housing this data, give me the social security number of akin. And then you are giving me somebody else's social security number in place of akin social. That's unacceptable. That is not integrity. That is error. That cannot be trusted. So you want to avoid, as a security person, apart from just making sure that it's available, you want to ensure that that data is given correctly, not in error. And then, of course, confidentiality means that whoever should not access the data should not be able to access the data. Just like you observed earlier on. How come the whole security SSA of the whole American citizens for an insurance company was late? They should be penalized, and there are heavy penalties. You can't do that. So which means you breached the confidentiality of these citizens by leaking their confidential information, the personal identifiable information. It's not allowed. So once you are working, all of the work you are doing, whether at the network layer or at the server layer or at the application layer or at the data layer, all of the work you do at each of these stages is just to ensure high confidentiality, integrity, and high availability. That's all. Anytime any of this is compromised, then it's as good as you did not do your work, and therefore you are liable on behalf of the organization. And of course, once that happens to the organization, the first person the organization wants to fire is the person that is in charge of security. How did you allow that happen? It's gone. In fact, not just the security, in fact, the person in charge of the whole organization. So that's why you would normally hear that the chief executive officer resigns or is being forced to resign. So the responsibility starts at the governance level. Of course, once the CEO is sacked, definitely many other heads will roll with, but they are not too important to be mentioned in news. So we don't just mention them. All right. So that is where confidentiality, integrity, and availability comes. So now that we know that in all of this, we want to ensure CIA, we are coming closer home to what we really want to achieve. All right. So security control types could be physical, organizational, but for us, what is important at this level is technical security. At the technical security level, we're talking about firewalls, we're talking about network access controlling, we're talking about access control management, and everything else other than putting on physical walls, physical fences, and organization, hiring the right people. That's mostly like management and HR level. But for us as security people, we want to make sure we're using the right tools, the right technology to ensure what? CIA, to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our data. All right. Everything good so far?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yes, everything is okay.
Good. All right. So control and okay, let's look at this. Yeah. Okay. I can just describe it. We'll talk about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, we have different layers of cybersecurity. So there's cybersecurity leadership and governance. There is cybersecurity. Let me take it. I'm taking all of my space now. What is left for me to work? Let me just bear with me. Okay. So when we talk about cybersecurity, there is the leadership and governance. So at the governance level, we'll talk more about it, but it just means management, basically. Management. All right. So these are the people at the executive level that will talk about the regulations, set up the company, and the design the policies that we implement in this organization to achieve the business objective of the organization. And then we also have cybersecurity, risk management and compliance. And then we have cybersecurity, operations and technology. For this course, this is where we fit. We are in operations and technology. We are not in GRC. This is together, this is GRC. Governance, risk, and compliance. We'll learn more about what that does. Please give me. Okay, I'll talk to this person. I thought it was his third person that was supposed to be in class, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's go on, guys. So, cybersecurity would be operations and technology. So the GRC, there is this, there is operations, and then there is third party. So under operations, we're going to talk about cybersecurity architecture. That's what we've been drawing since when we talked about the different domains of cybersecurity. We'll talk about identity management. We'll talk about application security. We'll talk about security. We'll talk about different regulations in cybersecurity, and so on and so forth. So, in one word, I am saying that GRC just one aspect of cybersecurity, and that is the technical part of cybersecurity. And then we have the technical part of cybersecurity. And under the technical part, these are some areas. These are the people that would actually implement on systems whatever policies have been agreed by the governance and by the risk people. Okay? So you are the hands-on people. When these people are talking paperwork, talk. At the end of the day, how do we now, as simple as from now on in this organization, because of the security lapses and the trends that are going on around cybersecurity threats globally, we don't want to wait for 3 failed attempts to lock a user out of our system. Once a user gets their password wrong the first time, they should be logged out and not allowed to connect to the system for another 1 hour. All right? This is what, they may not even know how to say it like that, but this is what they have on 3-page paper. At the end of the day, how do we actually implement this in operations? It's just 1 line. All of that long English is just 1 click. The people who actually do that, they are the operations people. And that's where you fall. So at the end of the first 2 months, you will not only be able to do vulnerability management and threat management like you will learn almost right away in another 2 weeks, you would also be able to implement these policies that the auditors recommend, the risk management team recommends, and especially the governance recommend, according to the regulation that is governing that industry. So that's just the whole idea here. All right. So if you ask many people, it's only recently now that people are, by this kind of training, my own kind of training, people are now beginning to know that, oh, cybersecurity is not just about GRC. It's actually wider than that. There are different domains. Oh, okay. Otherwise, if you ask people about 3, 4, 5 months ago, they will just think the whole of cybersecurity is, no, that's just the simple part of GRC, of cybersecurity. All right. So now you know. Somebody asks you now, oh, you're in cybersecurity at GRC? You know, I'm not in GRC. I'm in what? Operations and technology. We are the people who actually do. We do, not just write. And
Not just right.
Exactly. In fact, I've had some, in previous classes, some GRC people, especially risk management and auditing people, come into class and, man, it's too boring for me. I don't like this anymore. I want to go into operations. I want to be able to, rather than spend hours compiling 8-page documents, 15-page documents, and want to implement, and then they come and they learn on top of that. Just like I guess Renard is trying to do. And then, of course, we have third-party cybersecurity people. These are people who are contractors. You say what? I'm not just going to be any of these people. I'm just going to set up my own cybersecurity company, and my focus will be on helping operators do this. I just specialize in one of these areas. You know what? I'm just going to help organizations to be doing that is all. Right? So we call them third-party cybersecurity vendors. All right. Okay. So far, so good. All right. So we talked about CIA, and we said as cybersecurity professional, you are not the whiteboard people who will talk. You are actually ultimately going to end up as implement. We call them keyboard people. So rather than whiteboard, yes, you understand the concept, especially the first 1 month, but beyond that, we also go ahead to be able to implement. Okay. Basic risk concept, confidentiality, integrity, we've explained that. So based on all of that, we have what we call defense in depth, least privilege. You may not really understand it, but let me just quickly run through. Defense in depth simply means that you remember the concept of when to secure your data, the person will have to cross the defense at the IAM, cross the defense at the networking, at the server. So defense in depth means that it's not just one layer that you need to cross to be able to access data. There are many layers that you must cross. So even if the security here is breached, it's not likely that this one will be breached. If you breach that, there are so many layers. So it just means that we follow the principle of protecting our data, not just over a single defense, but over multiple securities. That's what we mean by defense in depth. So once you look at a situation in design, in the whiteboard design, and say, my data is here. Just one hurdle to cross, and then you come to your data. This is poor design. It's not acceptable. There must always be multiple hurdles to cross, multiple firewalls to cross, multiple depths to cross in the design before you get to the data. That's what that principle is saying. So you can look at a good design and know whether it's good right away using difference in depth. And then later on, you want to, once you create users like you are going to start doing, you want to give employees, the paper will say give them this privilege, but in the implementation, you want to give them the kind of access they will have to a particular network resource, for example, such that it is the least. Okay, let's just break all of those big English down. What I'm just simply saying here is, if Renard requires read permission, if Renard needs to read this document to understand what it's talking about, all he needs to do that is read permission to this document. I do not need to give Renard write permission. What does he need the right for? All he needs is to be able to read this and understand what he's saying. So least privilege means where I have the option to give him read write permission, I'm going to give him only read permission because that is the least kind of privilege he needs to be able to do his work. So as a cybersecurity professional, be conscious. Give only the least amount of privilege that the user needs to be able to do their work, not more, not less. All right? So these are 5 principles that we need to put at the back of our mind and adopt as often as possible to adhere to cybersecurity rules. Separation of duty means that once one person is playing one role, don't allow that person to sit on that desk for too long. Rotate the duty. So if he's working in the financial organization, for example, in the finance house, don't let the same person be clerk for 1 year. No. It's not a security. It's not a good security practice. He should rotate. He should move from that desk. Because once he gets used to one particular desk, then the possibility of ideas coming into his head to, why don't we change this figure? It becomes higher. So we should always, so no wonder you go to bank, the person that was sitting here is now sitting there. We are moved into a different department because they are practicing separation of duties. It's part of the principle to ensure that the organization's security posture is in place. All right. Secure by design is closely related to that. All right. Everything is secure by design. You don't just bring data or bring a user from nowhere and no. Everything by design of how users are introduced to network. By users, I mean maybe employees of the organization or customers of the organization. The way they are introduced and the way they are secure is secure by design. And then we want to keep things simple. We don't want to say because we are cybersecurity people, we want to make things complex. All right, let's not waste time too much on this talk. It's just principle that I know. All right, guys, if all of that is fine, the next thing we want to do now is we want to set up our environment where we can practice this thing because we are not going into cloud now. We want to be able to say, we want to set up a network. So once we have a network, we're going to set up a network. This network will be called, okay. So first of all, why do we need to set up a network? We know that to set up, give me 1 second. We want to learn how to create users and manage users, at least starting with users. So to do that, we need okay, just bear with me. We're going to set up a network. In this network, we would have a server, and then we'll have maybe 2 clients. Ideally, in the physical world, when we have this, we are going to connect this using cable to a switch, and this switch will have ports. All right. The other port we mentioned earlier were logical port, but this one is physical port. And then we use cable to connect this client. We use cable to connect this client. So we call this client 1. Maybe this will be the system in front of Ola. And then we'll call this client 2. And this will be the system on regional stable. All right. And then this is the server in the server room, from where we control the entire network. So once we have a network like this, and this network is running, networks can run one of 2 general operating systems, either Linux operating system or Windows operating system. Once this network that we have here is running a Windows operating system instead of Linux, then typically we call that kind of network that is running Windows operating system, we call it domain. All right, we call it domain. So now we have a domain because we are going to run is Windows. So let me put it on top. We are going to run Windows Server operating system here. We are going to run Windows Server. And then there's going to be a firewall around this network. But we are not going to run a physical network. What we are going to do is we are going to run this in a virtual environment. How do we do that? How do we achieve that? To achieve that, on your machine, on your host, this your host will be your laptop, your machine could be laptop or your desktop. All right, we just call it host. We are going to, your host is already running an operating system. What operating system are you guys running? Windows? Anybody running Mac here?
No, Windows.
Windows.
Beautiful, beautiful. Makes work easy for me. All right, so on this Windows now, we are going to install another kind of software called hypervisor. Hypervisor. It is this hypervisor that now makes it possible for us to run as many as we can, our resources will allow, many virtual machines. We are going to create virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3. So instead of going to the market to buy a server, buy a client, buy another client, come to my place, we set up cable, we buy a switch. No. This is old school. We are going to run the virtualized version. By virtualization, we are going to run that on your system so that your host that is already running Windows will go to the internet now, will download a third-party software called hypervisor. What does it do? It simply creates the environment that makes it possible for us to run virtual machine. So in this one, we'll now install Windows Server. All right, in this one, we'll install Windows client 1. In this one, we install Windows client 2 to get exactly what we described here. So now that we have an enterprise network, we'll now use it to learn everything we talked about earlier on about creating user account logging into the domain, accessing firewall, port numbers, all of those things. We'll now see them practically. And it's only after we have seen them practically, we practice with them, that we can now claim that, yes, we know how to do it. We know how to do it. All right, so that's what we have here in the notes. All right, so we're going to set up our lab, our virtual environment, because all of the practices of cybersecurity, you are not allowed to practice this on somebody else's network. So we need to set up our own network where we can practice cybersecurity, just like going to somebody's house and then to test whether the wall of the building is strong to keep threats, to keep thieves away. You are now breaking the wall. Is that allowed? It's not allowed. So it has to be your own wall, and then you try all of the different kinds of materials, whether you want to try wood, you want to try concrete, you want to try steel. That is where you practice to say, oh, steel is the best to protect my wall, therefore I've used it, right? So we call it ethical. You don't do it on somebody else's network, you do it on your network. All right, so let's set up our network now that will allow us to do it. All right. So to set up our network, are we still okay? Am I too fast? Do we understand the reason we're setting up our own network now so that we can practice?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Go and notice that somebody logged out and just logged out.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Okay. All right. So to do that, this is what we're going to do. In my own case, I have my laptop. I'm running Windows on my laptop as an operating system. So I'm going to go and download Hypervisor. So I come to the notes because the note has everything that I need to do this. I even have a YouTube video that you can just look at. So the first thing I want to do is download Hypervisor. There are different kinds of hypervisor. The particular hypervisor I want to download for my purpose is called Oracle VirtualBox. So I download, can you see my note? I download my Oracle VirtualBox from the link in the note.
So what you're saying now, we need to download this Oracle on our Windows laptop system?
Maybe not right now. Maybe you just watch me do it now.
Now.
Yeah. Unless, okay. I'm not sure. Maybe I can just let you. I mean, this is the first time, depending on how fast you are. Or, okay, just give me 15 minutes, and then I'll give you time to also download your. But the link is here anyway. Can you see my note? Download Oracle VirtualBox. So I just click this. I think you just watch so that you understand it first. Remember, it's being recorded, so you can always watch the video. All right, so come back. I click that link, it brought me here. Oracle VirtualBox, the latest release of Oracle VirtualBox, Oracle VirtualBox Basic. So it comes here. Because I'm running Windows operating system, look at it here. Windows installer for Windows, Oracle VirtualBox. That is my hypervisor. So I click that to download. All right, so that is downloading now to my machine. So once that is downloaded, I open the download folder and then I double click that to run my Oracle VirtualBox. So I just go to double click. So this will install my hypervisor on my operating system, on my Windows operating system. All right. So it says next, leave everything as is by default, next, install. All right. So my hypervisor is installing on my operating system now. And once it is installed, it gives me the avenue to create virtual machines. All right, finish. Oh, that was fun, beautiful. All right. The explanation can take 3 pages, 4 pages, but the practical is just straight away. We are done. All right, so if we close this now, look at it. All just installed. Even this one, we don't need it anymore. Look at our hypervisor. So that is it. So even if this was not open, we'll see it here. Can you see it now? It's shown there and it's shown. If we want to, we can make a copy and put it here, but we just double click it here. All right. So this is our Oracle virtual box. So now let us go ahead and create a machine. So if we go to new, and then we'll give the machine a name. What name do we want to call this virtual machine? Well, let's call it our server. All right. To create this server, we need the operating system that we'll put in the server. So this server, what operating system are we going to run in the server? We are going to run Windows Server operating system, because at the end of this part of the course, we are going to become Windows Server administrators. All right. So let's quickly go look for Windows Server. I mean, if we're back home, we'll go to Computer Village, buy the CD and come. But right now, we're just going to look for it online and then install it right away on our virtual machine. All right. So I'll not be able to complete this because I don't have the Windows Server, the operating system that I'll run there yet. So I'll just close this meanwhile. All right. So where do I get a Windows Server now to load? Again, I go to my note and I say, can you see? Download Windows Server. Server operating system. So if I hold down my control and press this link, it will take me to this place, Microsoft.com, where Microsoft has made free copy of Windows Server 2022 available for people like you to practice how to use Windows Server operating system and become Windows Server administrator. It's free of charge. It's a evaluation copy and you can use it free for 60 days or 180 days or so. All right, let's go ahead and download it. So I say my name, my email address, my company name, what am I, US? And then my company size, and then phone number, US. Comment, download. Job role, manager. And then download. So that's how to download. So what am I downloading? English version, my ISO. All right, it's the ISO 64 bits. This is what I'm downloading. All right, so I click. Yeah, questions?
No.
Okay, so I click this, and now it starts to download. Download in progress. That could take several minutes, but that's it. Again, don't worry because the steps are already in the notes. So if I come here, it tells you how to install your virtual machine and then how to the steps to follow. Check 64-bit and double click language and then click download. All right. Check the ISO to continue. We know so many, so we took the one that is called ISO. All right. By the time you combine the note with the virtual machine, with the video, it shouldn't be hard for you to complete. All right, so the download is taking place now. But this is going to take several minutes, and that will eat into your time. So what I'm going to do now, I've been delivering this copy before, so I have a downloaded copy already. So let me just go ahead and save your time and use an old copy that I had downloaded. By the way, let me quickly show you that. So I downloaded from downloads. Look at the one, what you just downloaded today. And then if I open here, you will see that I already have my VirtualBox downloaded earlier on. I also have my Windows server. Can you see server evaluation copy? All right. You are going to download this, like we're downloading now, but to save your time, let me just use this. All right. So I'll close this. I'll go back to my virtual machine now and continue to work. All right. So I'll come back to my virtual machine, to my VirtualBox, create my virtual machine, call it any name, maybe server. And now it's going to ask me, where do I create it? I leave that. It's going to say ISO, my ISO image, which is my operating system. It's going to ask me, where is it, so that I can pick it. So I come here and I say order. And I say it's somewhere in my download folder. So I think download, it's not downloaded yet, so I don't see it. But I told you I already have one that I had here. So I open here and I say this server evaluation copy, that is the one I want to load. I say, okay, oh, that is taken. Here, skip unattended installation. I want attended, not unattended. So I'll click, don't skip unattended. Yeah, skip it, yeah. All right, so I want to attend to it, so I don't want it to do it automatically. All right, so I click next. Now, this virtual machine is going to take resources from my host machine. You know, it's virtual. It needs memory, it needs CPU, it needs storage. It's going to take all of those resources from my laptop. So how much of my laptop resources am I giving to this virtual machine? Let me give it, out of my 32 gig, let me give it 18 gig. And out of my 8 processors, let me give it 3 or 4 processors. Yeah. Okay, so I've assigned memory from my laptop and processor from my laptop to the virtual machine. What about my storage? It needs a minimum of 50 gig. Do I have up to that on my system? I think so. So let me just add a little more. Get 58 gig of storage space. All right, and then I'll say next. All right, so be careful there. Assign those 3 resources: RAM, memory, storage, and CPU. And now we'll say finish. So now we have created our virtual machine and we have assigned the operating system to load to the virtual machine. All right, now let's start the virtual machine. So the virtual machine is selected and I click start. All right, so this will start to, the virtual machine should start now. All right, so once it starts, it's going to find out, but there's no operating system inside, so it will start to load the operating system from that directory that we give. All right, so this is how to load awesome. All right. So I hope, how much RAM space do you have on your laptop? If you have enough space.
Well, I haven't started download. I have Oracle. I downloaded the Oracle on my laptop, but I haven't. I'm just trying to watch what you're doing, so no, I don't miss or skip any part of it.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right, so let's watch it together. So what's going on now? it says, so everything here is good, right? So we'll just say next. If my download still happening because, okay, I'll just manage because it looks like it's really eating bandwidth. My mouse is hanging. Okay. I didn't click on my mouse hung, so that is repeating what it did. Let me close anything that is open to free up memory. What about this one? Okay, so it's more stable now. Can you see? So I just click next and I say install my server operating system. All right, so watch out here. Here I will see desktop experience, very important. Desktop experience. All right, it's in the notes, and then we'll see next. And then I'll just say accept the license terms. All right, and then say next. And again, watch out here. I don't say upgrade, I say custom. And then I say next. All right, so installing Microsoft Server operating system now. Man, yeah, 0%. Copy Microsoft Server operating system. All right, so it started getting files ready for installation, 3%. So that'll go all the way to 100% and then to complete. Bear with it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay.
That's 33%. Mm. All right. So at this stage, is anybody trying to? You are still watching?
Yeah, I'm here. We're watching.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I get what you do now so that let's take a quick break now, 15-minute break.
Okay.
By the time we come back, you should have completed the installation and I will
In
continue.
the my question before we leave. So this video, I mean the class, we can watch the video recorded one later on, to follow the steps you followed.
Exactly. Exactly. So
Okay.
watch the video, pause at intervals, and then follow the steps exactly. By the time you
Okay.
combine that with the note, you shouldn't have problem.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right. See you in 15 minutes.
All right.
All right, guys, welcome back to class.
All right, welcome back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so what's happening to our installation? I can see, let me look around and see what's happening. So if I come back to block. Okay, let me start. That is how I can power off and start. Wow. Okay, so while that one is going on, is there anything else? We're expecting it to come. This was the last one we chose together. We're expecting it to ask us to sign into our virtual machine from the taskbar with the keyboard controls, and then we'll enter our password. Already. What's going on here? I don't trust this installation. Okay, so if we go to download, the other one we're trying to download is now downloaded. Okay, so maybe I just remove, okay, don't worry about that. So why is it not making progress? Maybe I should just delete this machine and start all over. It's unusual. Oh, okay, it's behaving well. All right, so this is what you normally do. That took a while, but so everything is fine though. So let's give it password. So we are the administrator. So let's say the item.
We can see the
Oh, you
screen
can't
is
see the,
there.
you can't see the screen. Okay.
Yeah, we see the screen, but at the it says finish, only the finish.
Oh,
but
you don't see me entry password, right?
okay, yeah, I can see that now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So 2024 hash. Where's my hash? Okay. So the item 2024. Okay, let me repeat that. The item 2024 hash. All right, so we say finish. Okay, so we have successfully installed the Windows Server operating system on our virtual machine. So from now on, it is safe to call this virtual machine our server. All right, so Control Delete to unlock. So we'll go here to Device, Keyboard, Control Delete. Because if we press it on the keyboard, it will control our host.
Host.
Yeah. So to control the virtual machines, we do that. All right. So we just entered our password. Do you remember what our password is? The iTan 2024 hash. And then we log in. All right, gentlemen. We are logging into our server as Windows Server Administrator for the first time. So welcome to our server. All right, so how do we administer? Administer simply means manage. How do we manage this server now? To control, to manage, to secure our entire enterprise network from this server. All of the tools that we will need to be able to secure our entire enterprise network is resident in this server. All right, and it's resident in this server under varying tools. We'll look at the tools now. All right, so our device is ready. Do we want okay. Just before we proceed, let's do one more thing. Try managing server, don't show me. Close it. All right, so Windows Server Manager Dashboard. All right. So do you get the concept? So what we're trying to do here is before we claim that we are security, we are IT security professionals, where are we coming from? So we're coming from a background of managing and securing Windows network environments. In other words, domain networks. So that's what we are learning. All right, so the first thing we want to do here, let's not jump because we might just get excited and let's just follow the note. So we enter that password. Let us maximize our virtual machine display. Okay, let's just so you have a feel you are working with real machine. And by the way, our virtual machine is real and it's independent of our host machine. Right now, we have two independent machines. Our host machine, my laptop, look at the menu for my laptop here, and then our virtual machine there. All right, let's just maximize this thing. Because right now, if we say maximize, it will not cover everywhere. All right, to do that, we go to input, we go to device, we insert a CD. I mean, this is equivalent to inserting a CD physically. So we insert that, that is inserted, okay? So we go back to the virtual machine, and then we'll click the file manager, and then we'll go to our CD drive, and then we are going to look for where's our this PC we are going to look, that CD that we inserted earlier on, we are going to open it. And here we are going to see Windows additions, this one. VBoss Windows addition. So we'll click that. Double click Windows additions. What does it do? It's installing additional resources on our Windows server to make it whole, to make it complete. In those days, we call those additional resources drivers. Drivers. But these days, we just call it additions. So there will be additional features, just finishing touches. And one of them will be that this window is not able to cover the whole screen and you can feel it differently like a real operating system. It's just additional feature. It's not really compulsory, but we just wanted to make everything perfect. Okay, so we say finish and then to restart the entire virtual machine. Okay, so it's restarting. So once that restarts, the next thing we want to do after that restarts is, right now, this system is just a server. The next thing we want to do is to put the services that will make this server very powerful and to inherit the properties, the tools that I mentioned earlier on that we need to be able to manage the entire domain. Those tools, those services are compiled and given a single name. So that singular name is what we are going to install on this server now. And once we install that name, that service on this server will no longer be just ordinary server. It will become the king of this network. The king of the network is called domain controller. And the crown that we want to wear this server now to make it the king is called Active Directory Domain Services, ADDS. All right? So on this server now, we are going to install Active Directory. And once we install Active Directory here, this server becomes, it's no longer an ordinary person. It becomes a superpower. That superpower is called domain controller. All right, guys, let us now go ahead and promote this server from ordinary server to become domain controller. By doing what? By installing Active Directory. All right, so that's what the note says. That to promote this server to become domain controller, we need to install Active Directory. How do we install that and promote that? That's what we're going to do. Look at it, Active Directory. Active Directory Domain Services, simply called Active Directory. All right, so the interview questions start from here. Oh, you said you are coming from a network environment where you managed Windows Server network for an organization. All right, all of the questions, well, maybe not all, but there is no way we'll talk about managing enterprise networks without talking about Active Directory, because that is where the tools.
Active Directory.
Yeah, Active Directory. That's where the tools are for managing your entire network. For example, the list of all of the computers, all of the users, all of the resources on that network is saved inside the Active Directory. You know the meaning of directory? Like your phone directory, it has a list of objects. So this is a directory of everything on your network, whether that is a user on your network, the security features of your network, the components and infrastructure of your, everything is saved in the Active Directory. So it's so powerful that we can actually talk about networks and only mention Active Directory. Once we are talking about Active Directory, Active Directory, Active Directory, without even mentioning network, you know that we are talking about networks. It's that powerful that we can literally talk about it in place of it. All right, we're still waiting for that to start. After we're still talking. It still restart. That's unusually long though, but just patiently wait. Restarting. All right. So what do you do in order to promote your server to domain controller? You install and configure Active Directory on the server. This isn't taking so long. Actually, I got everything right. I think after class, I'll have to remove this server and create a new server. It shouldn't take this long to restart. I added enough memory. Okay. Yeah, any questions while we're still waiting for it to restart?
No question yet.
Okay.
I have a question which is not like technically related to this right now. So what's the, so you said the part of cybersecurity that we're going to be doing is very different from GRC. So which one is more marketable right now? Which one is in demand?
Maybe you just look it up on Indeed and then on LinkedIn. Compare what opportunities are available. One as at this level as cybersecurity analyst.
Okay.
Yes, cybersecurity analyst, but it doesn't always come in this name. It could come as a vulnerability analyst. In fact, let's look at it together.
Okay.
So let's go to Indeed. Secure rating and right, information security analyst, cybersecurity, endpoint security. Now you know what endpoint is, right? Endpoint
Right.
security analyst, application security analyst, right? You know you don't qualify, you are not ripe for that right now because you don't know about application security, governance analyst, senior security analyst, and so on and so forth. So if we just click, then we have identity and access management analyst. If we just take a simple one, for example, maybe information security analyst. All right, so where is the job description? Monitor and analyze, right? We mentioned SIM, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we already covered part of that. And then knowledge is that you should have strong technical skills in areas such as network security. So we're doing networking now, and then we're going to do the security around this networking that we are creating. So we are starting with that. Endpoint, that's basically server. All right. Experience in security assessment. Yes. So back to your question. Your question was what opportunities are there? There are opportunities everywhere. It's really hard to say there is more opportunity. There's opportunity everywhere. So it should actually be about which one has brighter prospects.
In more demand.
Mm-hmm. And this is no number. So again, that is subjective. I mean, because I'm a technical trainer, I may want to. I think I had that kind of discussion with Regina, and we agreed that it's always better to have a training this time of AI that has a bit of technical aspects to it than just talk. So yeah, you can put all of those. Have you done GRC before?
No, when we did IT security, the guy just touched on GRC a little bit.
So what exactly did you do?
IT audit.
Oh, audit. Okay. Yeah. So that question should be, the answer should be self-evident. But why is it? Okay, guys. So let me stop this and start all over. I don't know. This is taking too long. So let's start. Let me stop this machine. So I'll stop this. I'll stop this. And I'll say this machine, I don't want it anymore. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to delete this machine. I'll say delete all files. It's all good. It's part of the practice so that you know how to do it when it happens in your own case. So I go back to this system. I go to my C drive and I go to users. My name is cybersecurity. I delete that. It's in the notes. It says you can't delete it because it's in use. Okay. I'm going to close this. All right, so it's no longer in use. So I go back there and I say delete dot. Try again. It's gone now, and then delete that one. So it's gone. So I have a fresh slate. So I'm just going to start all over. Yeah, it will take a while, but it's better I get the foundation right then. So let's quickly do it again. So I come back to, yeah, I already downloaded it, right? So I deleted it. So this one is no longer valid. It shouldn't be valid. Let me go to add remove program.
Perfect.
Remove program. And then I say the program that I installed, remove them. For example, specifically, I'm talking about Oracle VirtualBox. This one, uninstall it. So I come here and I say uninstall. Remove it. It's not behaving well. Yes, remove it. And then that's it removed.
Yeah.
And now I have to install a fresh one.
That size will be up to 500. See how she is.
So you excited about your wife?
She's as big as this car.
Oh, you excited about me getting a search?
Let's use. All right, so that is gone. And now I can, is it still there, Oracle? No, it's not. Okay, so I'll close this. And now I'm going to say install a new one. How do I do that? I go to my download folder where I downloaded that, my download, and I say install Oracle VirtualBox. All right, so Oracle VirtualBox, no, install. All right, so once that is installed, I create my buffer machine on top of that. All right, so that is installed. Let me go ahead and create my buffer machine. So let's call it server 1. All right, so it should be there. And then this time, let me use the one that I just downloaded. I downloaded to download folder. Where is it? It should be here. Okay. My ISO image. All that. Downloads. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I take the one that we downloaded today. And I say skip that. And then I say next. I gave you enough memory for 18 gig. Oh, yeah, it's 18 gig. Then 4 of this. That's enough for you to behave well. Enable special use. So next. 50, I haven't added something to that. I made it 60. So what's the complaint? Then I said finish. Now I said start. So you can start to load your server now. All right, so next, install. That was faster than the first one. The first one took a while to get to this stage. Let's continue to monitor closely. Setup is starting now. All right, so here we see desktop experience, remember? Next. This one is behaving better than the first one. And then here we see accept terms and conditions, and then we see next, and then we see custom, and then we see next. Awesome, this one is behaving better. So what I'm just going to do now is go back. Yeah, it's behaving better. So let me go back to the one that did not behave well, and then delete it from here so that I don't use it next time. Let me remove it. Delete. And this one that is behaving well, let me save it now to this place. I'll just go back one step. I'll move this from here into this. And even this one. No. It's 15 years. It's not the right time to move it. If you come back there. 15 years, right? Okay, so meanwhile, what's going on here? Getting files ready for installation. I think we're faster than this. Come on. Installing Microsoft Server operating system. Okay, 1%. That one has started. Okay. So while that one is going on, let's go back to our. So you were talking about GRC really. Okay, so GRC analyst, although the title can come in many shapes, it doesn't have to be GRC analyst. So we already saw what was there. This one we don't really have. Yeah, all of IT, governance, compliance, all of these are part of GRC. All right. So the roles are here and the roles are there. So I mean, there are all opportunities. It's just which one do you have flair for? That's just you are somebody who does not like technical things, you just like talk, and writing, yeah, this GRC is good for you. But if you are somebody who believes, oh, it's a bit boring to just talk, let's add some operations to it. And then also believe, if you are somebody who believes that the more I can do hands-on, the more protected my job is, the more I'll become relevant in the future. If you believe that, then it will be more like, okay, let me do something that requires hands. All right. And then, of course, all these are just children compared to the real thing, which is cloud security. All right. This is where the jobs are really guaranteed. All right. Cloud security engineering. Yes, this is more like it. This is more like it. Azure cloud security and compliance are yes, this is what we're training you to become ultimately. You may not necessarily be there within 2 months of training, but this is where you are going, because we are going to talk about compliance.
You mean within 2 months or 3 months? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I said you may not necessarily be here within 2 months of training. It could take you 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, but ultimately, this is where we are heading. Azure cloud security administrator. But within the first 2 months, you would have become Azure security person. But in terms of the additional experience you would need to be able to earn 200 and something thousand, you would need some 6 months of practice to get there. Yes. But all of this we'll learn. We'll learn all of this: documentation, policy management. We're going to create MySQL server. We're going to create database. We're going to experience participating. We talk about this at least, but not really in practice. Ability to document, ability to follow instruction. All those ones are just working with. Look at what we are doing. Virtual machine setup. Is that not what we are doing?
Yes.
Exactly. So, okay, and then keen attention. Blah, blah, yeah. IT operations and analysis. This is a small position. Anybody who does it, even the first month, you should qualify for that. Monitor and maintain, troubleshoot and resolve IT issues incidentally in a timely manner. We are going to do a lot of troubleshooting and resolving issues here. Stay informed. I'm looking for the ones that have to do with technical skills, not all of this perform rating. Collaborate, including standard operating system procedures. Yeah, nothing too technical here. This is just everyday person. All right. So cloud security. Wow. These are the people. This is it. Cloud. Anywhere you hear cloud security, that's where you should be aiming for. So at this level, when they say people are losing jobs, 10,000 and falling on the left, 1,000 on the right, it's not your business because you're a specialist. This is cloud security. Cloud security. This is core of IT. All right. Apart from just the pay, what you learn to come to this level is not something just anybody. All right, guys, that's where we are going. That's where we are going. So we just started the journey today. But to get here, first of all, know this. And then we'll now build on that to become this. And then we'll build on that to become this. All right. Other web services. This one requires you to first of all be like a DevOps engineer. It requires a lot of tools. This may not necessarily fit. But this one, yes, we definitely cover that. IAM identity. But we're using Azure anyway. We are not using AWS. So you may want to avoid that and go specifically for the one that requires Microsoft. Azure is Microsoft for them. So this is more like it compared to that one. This will be more like it for you. All right. Microsoft Azure course. All right. So that was to answer your question, to help you answer your question without me actually answering directly.
Right.
Okay.
So 70% done as far as getting files ready for installation. Yeah, any other questions? Or this is going to take a while to complete. -7%. All right. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so still walking. Yeah, what you mentioned? Yeah, how you like the other one? Okay, so let me restart. Sure, but let me restart. It will be close. Arrow. All right, so my server is off, so let me start again. Normally that shouldn't happen by that. Okay, so the high time 2024 the high time 2024. All right, so what is it? What is the finish button not on? The item 2024 the item, yeah, sorry. So administrator was saying, okay, so finish. Apply computer settings. Okay, so everything going so far. So, like we said, if I press Control or Delete on the keyboard, it will not affect this. So I come here and I say keyboard Control or Delete. Then I log in. The akin 2024 app. So I log in and I'm here now. All right, so what was the thing we did the next after this? We install the drivers in quote, right? Are we still together?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we am here.
Okay. I mean, these are normal IT things. So, I mean, these are the problems you are being employed to solve. It doesn't
Right.
mean that once you just click go, it will always go. If it was like that, then nobody would be employing an IT person. So get used to troubleshooting, learning to resolve issues. All right, so like we said we'll go to device and then we'll say insert CD. And then having done that, we'll now go, let's just be patient. Let's wait for this screen to load fully. All right, so that screen is fully loaded now. Almost, not really, almost fully loaded. All right, so we don't need this, don't ask me this anymore. So we'll close that. All right, so this is the window that will allow to configure our server. But before we come back to configuration, let's quickly go and install the driver. So let's move this all, come to this PC, open my CD drive, find that there, and then I'll click of all of these many options. I'll click the one that says Windows Addition. So I double click that, and that will load. Next, install. And then we'll say finish. This was where we began to get problem from the other one because now we're just showing restarting, it didn't do beyond restart. Let's see whether this one would work fine. Closing, okay, yeah, restarted. This one appears to be behaving fine. Right. In fact, let me check. Let's come back here and check vulnerability management, for example, or vulnerability analyst or something. Yeah, let's check information security, security governance. Okay, maybe management. So there's something different from what we got about. Vulnerability management. Same thing. Security vulnerability. Let's see. Management, perform vulnerability assessment, understanding vulnerability. This is the easiest of all of them. This unit, anybody can do it. We'll cover this. Adjust security, IT engineer, IT section. Penetration vulnerability testing. Okay, I was just trying to see if I could get a role that specifically says you must know how to use Windows Server operating system. Most of them will not say it, but it is implied. It is implied in the background of all of this language. It is there, but some of them will say it as number one, you must know how to use Windows Server operating system. Cybersecurity operations engineer. Just so you can take this level of training seriously. Well, this is related. This is what we're going to do now. DNS, DHCP. Anyway, it did not say it directly here, but we're not playing. We really need it. Even though it's not said, we need what we are doing here. So from now on, just watch out. As you begin to check the job description of roles that you think you qualify for, it is likely that in the first one or two roles, you'll see ability to manage Windows Server operating system. It will be written there, and that's exactly what we're doing. All right, back to class. So we'll come to input, keyboard, control, delete. Yes, this one appears to be working fine. The high time 2024 hash. And one more time, once again, we are now able to log in. Okay. Okay, so this is better than the first. I hope. Yes. All right, so this one has no problem, unlike the first one that was really taking our time. So I conclude that the operating system I was using here, maybe the version expired. So now I use the one that we downloaded today, and it's better behaving than the one that I downloaded 2 months ago.
Is this the motion?
Okay. All right, so we installed something, the driver that will make it cover the screen. So let's attempt to cover the screen now. Oh, look at it. It covered the whole screen, right? Exactly what we wanted to achieve. All right. So we have so what's the next we want to do now? The next we want to do now is we want to install our Active Directory domain services so that we can promote this server to become our domain controller. All right, so this is how to do that, guys. Are you ready? Let's go. So we're going to come here and say add roles and features. So we'll click add role. Server is collecting inventory. This wizard will be available. Okay, server is still busy, so let's just give it some time. It just means that I'm in the house. I'll give it some time to quickly get itself and get ready for work. Let's try one more time. Add roles and features, and then it saves this. All right. So we'll say next. In your case, you are going to read everything line by line, but I'm already explaining to you. All right. So here we'll just say next. All right. And the name of this server is that. So I'll say next. All right. So this is it. So these are the possible roles and features, additional services that you can add on this Windows server to make it special. So you can make it Active Directory. You can add Active Directory certificate services, Active Directory federation services, DNS services, DHCP, and so on and so forth. But don't worry about all of that. You are not Microsoft certified server engineer. You are just learning to administer Windows. All right, so we'll just concern ourselves with one, Active Directory domain services. So we'll click this, which is saying we want that feature installed on this server. We say add that feature, and that is checked now. All right, so this is the crown, this is the general that once we assign to the server becomes the head of it. All right, but alongside this general, there are two lieutenants that we must assign as well. They are DHCP server and DNS server. So we'll take them. DNS server. So now we have selected this primary service, Active Directory, as well as these two additional services.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the DHCP server and the DNS server?
Okay, you are ready. So the DHCP server is the server that would, on the network that we are trying to create now, automatically generate and assign IP addresses to all computers on the network. So IP addressing is in fact, IP addressing is networking. To say it's a major part is another statement. When we talk about networking, we talk about IP addressing. But this is not a pure networking class, so we cannot go all the way to study IP addressing and all of that. So we are going to outsource the job of creating and maintaining IP addresses to a service called Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So the use of that DHCP is saying anything that has to do with creating IP address and assigning them to systems. All of the 374 systems we are going to create on this network. I don't want to do it. I outsource it to this service, DHCP. That's what we are doing. So do you get the meaning of DHCP now?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, beautiful. As for DNS, we are saying something similar. We are saying, ideally, we should be addressing all devices on the network by their IP addresses. But how can I be remembering 10.2.5.2 for one system, 13.2.5 for another system? It's too complex. So please, I want to refer to the systems by their names and to networks by their names. You convert it to an IP address and contact them. I don't care about that. You do the translation. That service that you are asking to do the translation, to stand in between you and those complex IP addresses, is the DNS server. So the DNS server is domain name services. Will help you resolve IP address to domain name and vice versa.
Without you doing it yourself.
Without you doing it yourself. So you can be using network now, and you'll never come across anything IP address. And you'll be wondering, but they said IP address is so important. How come I'm working on networks beautifully without even knowing anything about IP address? Because DHCP and DNS are doing the work for you in the background.
IP address.
Yes. DHCP is manufacturing and assigning the IP addresses. DNS is calling the systems by their names without referring to the IP addresses.
Got it.
All right. Yeah. So it's your interpreter. So the fact that you call server 1, you ping server 1 and it responds, it does not mean that the IP address is useless. It simply means that the DNS server is able to resolve the IP address to server 1 and communicate with server 1, and then you think that IP address is useless. So you got that?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. So now let's go to next. And then these are all, many more services. But again, like we said, these are not your business. Don't complicate it. Just say next. Yeah. And then say next. Next. And then you say install my Active Directory services. And of course, alongside, also install my DHCP and DNS as already highlighted. You say install. All right. So to install those services. Why do you need those services, especially the Active Directory domain services? It is the service that will convert the server to domain controller. What is domain controller? I'm not even going to bother to explain it. I'm going to show you what the domain controller is able to do hereafter. And and then you know what domain controller is. But for now, the fact that it's a controller means that it's the king. So right now we are building a kingdom. Installation started. Okay. Installation is good. So we are building a kingdom and we are installing the king of that kingdom. That's what we are doing. The installation. We'll do the installation later on when we are Yeah, it's part of the installation. Coronation, actually, I wanted to say. We are crowning the king with the crown of the day. All right, so I think that's about all we can take for today in terms of doing anything new, but we are still here to explain concepts just to help you get the foundation right. Once this foundation is right and you understand what you are doing, not mechanically, but then troubleshooting will be really easy for you, because once you know the place of DNS and you feel, why am I getting, it must be that DNS is not doing its work. And then you go, oh, really, DNS is not doing this. Oh, okay. So that's how to troubleshoot. And then you can now click a button to make it do its work. But if you did not understand what it ought to do, then you'll not even be able to get to the conclusion of clicking the right. And all of this, as usual, is in the notes. Where's our notes? All right, so configure the virtual machine to communicate. No, we are not there. What are we? Install virtual machine. Yeah, we just completed here. We are not doing this, but you can do it if you want, because it's in the note. Yeah, we are somewhere here now, but we are not quite here. All right, so the installation is still continuing here. Installation started and it's still going. All right, guys, so that way we have been able to at least commence the creation of an enterprise network. We've not only installed our server, we have also started the process of promoting our server to become the domain controller. And then once we have that in place, we can now start to, we'll just continue from there, complete that, and then we'll start to practice. Everything that should happen on a regular network, if you were driving out of your home to your corporate office every day to manage the network, we will now be able to do those same everything on our local machine within our virtualized environment, where we have a replica of that remote network on our system in a virtualized format. When they say create user account, manage security processes, log social person out of the network, user forgot their password and they're asking you as the administrator to help them recover password. All of those you'll be able to do from the network that we are setting up. And the network, the particular server on the network from which you are able to do all of that is the server that is running the Active Directory. What is the name of the server that is running the Active Directory on your network? Yeah, if you assume that there are many servers on your network, you have your print server, your internet server, your file server, your database server. What is the name of the server on which that is running, or what did I put? Yeah, the name of the server that is running your Active Directory. What is that server called?
That's the main domain controller.
Is it domain controller, not the main? Remove the word main.
Domain controller.
Yes, it's the domain controller. Correct. All right. I guess you wanted to say the primary server of the network, the main server of the network is called the domain controller. Yeah, right, correct. All right, so as part of interview, they take you to a server room and say, show me the domain controller here. You'll be looking out for the one that is running the Active Directory. There would only be one, because there's only one king in a kingdom. So there would always only be one. All right, so installation succeeded with that. So now we have successfully installed our Active Directory on our server. The next thing we want to do is now promote the server now that it's it has an Active Directory running on it. We want to promote it to domain controller. That one is not as easy as just clicking a button. There are some concepts that I need to explain to you in the process of that configuration. It's not something we can do today. We'll continue from here next. But if you understand everything we've done today, then we have covered a lot in one day. I'm just going to close this, and then next time we'll just continue from there. So next time we are going to continue from manage, from tools, and we'll see all of these tools. Amongst all of these tools, we'll find the one that is called Active Directory users and computers. And this is what we'll come back to begin to work as a Windows Server Administrator, right? The DHCP that we set up earlier on is how we can manage and use it. DNS, disk cleanup, create user account, all right? Recover drive, set group policy management, security, set local security policies. All of that we'll be able to do right here. All right. But before we do that, there's one more work to do, like we said earlier on. And that work is to, first of all, promote this server to domain controller. You may be wondering, but what have we been doing? I thought that was what we did. No, what we did was to install the service. Now we need to configure the service in order to make this promotion happen. So we'll just do that, and then that will complete that part. All right, questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So how do we have access to the note?
Once I have your email address, I'll give you access.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the drive. It's on Google Drive.
Okay.
So let's chat on the group. Yeah, I'll create a group now. I'll add both of you. I was hoping the third person would join, and then we can now communicate.
What about
central?
The video? Are we gonna have access to it?
Yes. In another 2 or 3 hours, the video should be up on YouTube, and then I'll give you access to it. So you have access to both the videos and the notes.
Okay. So you post the videos on your YouTube?
Yeah, post the video on YouTube, and then I'll give you access to the video.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll need your email address, your Gmail, and then I'll use that one to give you access.
Okay.
And then this class is for Saturdays and Sundays. So the next class will be tomorrow. We'll continue with the practicals tomorrow. And then after that will be next week. And then as you try to practice these things on your own and you run into a problem, don't talk too much. Don't speak English. Just take a snapshot of the issue and then post it on the group.
Okay.
Post it on the group and say, I need help. I'm trying to do this, but this is where I am. And then somebody will support you. Somebody will help you. For now, I'll be that person. Usually, once it's a big class, like 7, 8 persons, I'll bring in additional trainer to support me to help you. But since there are just 2 of us, I'm sure I'll be able to support you there.
Okay.
Yes, any more questions?
No.
We still have 5 minutes. I mean, that's a lot of time to ensure you understand.
Right. Understand. So we just need to watch the video one more time so everything can,
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. The video will take up to about at least 3 hours to compile, because right now, after the lecture, yeah, it's going to take a while. So, yeah, I think that's it for today.
All right.
Mhm.
So the next class is next Saturday, same time?
No, Sunday tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
At
just
same.
said classes are Saturdays and Sundays, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on those 2 days. Yes, same time. Saturdays, Sundays, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Texas time. So same time basically. So
Okay.
this is 4 minutes to 9 p.m. So we still have 4 minutes. So we'll see here together. So twice a week. And then once you cover the first month and you have a good understanding of what cybersecurity is all about, you have had practice. On one hand, you can use the sample resume to start looking for job, but that's not the goal. The goal is to get you to cloud security. So it's highly recommended that you take at least the first 2 months.
Right.
Mhm.
With our background and all that, we can, share our CV and see how we can incorporate our previous, experience and certifications and all that.
Yes. Hopefully you're able to do that on your own using this sample resume, feed them in. And
Right.
then if you feel you are not convinced how it turns out, then share with me. And
Now,
then
how do
I might,
we do it by ourselves and share with you, so, for
yeah, I might be able to make additional contributions. So we already have a sample resume that covers everything we are going to do in this class. So, like you said, we just see how your current background or your previous background can fit into this, or the other way around. Then we'll come up with something. All right, so that's it, guys. I will create the group now. Then I will send you the link. Please join, and then I'll share the link to both the video and the manual in the group, in the WhatsApp.
Okay.
Okay. And then, Mr. Akin, I might still have some questions. Is it okay if I can, shoot you a text or call you?
If it's questions, no, it's not okay. But if you are practicing and you run into issue, take a snapshot and then share in the group. But for questions, you wait for us to come back to class and then you ask questions in class.
Okay.
Yes. So the support group is mainly for practicals. I'm doing something, I'm stuck. But for questions, I'm very happy to take questions in class because it may require up to 3 minutes of explanation.
All right.
Mhm. All right. Thank you, guys. So we'll see you again tomorrow.
All right.
It's
All
more.
right. Bye.